Right?
Where's your sister?
So funny.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, get really close to it, okay? Yeah, get close to it so we can. Cool, and then Mother will, we could like do a ballet performance.
Yeah.
No ballet moves? No? Okay. Come up with an SVTDO that involves you. Olympias was Alexander's mother. Is that a SVTDO?
No, his wife says it.
Is it, guys?
No. Your mom's here. Oh.
It's absolutely not an SVTDO. It's not an SVTDO.
Olympias, Queen of Macedonia. Behind every great man is a great woman. Surely everyone has heard of Alexander the Great, but have you ever thought about who his mother was? It was me, Olympias. As the Queen of Macedonia, I was one of the world's most powerful women of ancient times, and was also the mother of Alexander the Great. Having the position as the daughter of Neoptolemus, the king of Epirus in ancient Greece, I was raised as a noble with wealth and an exceptional education. After being orphaned as a teen, I married Philip II, who was the king of Macedonia, and had 2 children, one of whom was Alexander the Great. I lovingly played a significant role in Alexander the Great's success. My birth name was Polyxena, and I lived from 375 to 316 BC in ancient Greece. I was the daughter of Neoptolemus, the king of Epirus. As the daughter of the king, I happily grew up wealthy and was given an excellent education by my uncle Leonidas, who nicknamed me Myrtle. We had a strong relationship. Sadly, my mother died when I was young, and around age 15, my father perished in battle, and I became an orphan. As a young girl, I was a priestess of Dodona, the oak god. In 357 BC, I married King Philip II and later became a ruler of Macedonia. Becoming the mother of Alexander the Great, who was one of the world's most famous kings and military leaders, was one of my greatest achievements. The Iliad, the epic poem by Homer that tells of the siege of Troy and the warrior Achilles, was my favorite because it told of my ancestors, the Mausoleans. I, Olympias, also known as Polyxena, lived during the 300s BC in ancient Greece. I met Philip II on the island of Samothrace as a teenager, and we married 2 years later in 257 BC, making me Queen of Macedonia. I was his 3rd wife. During that time, it was common for kings to have multiple wives whom they would marry for political alliances. Eventually, we had 2 children, Alexander, who would later become Alexander the Great, and Cleopatra, a different one than the famous Cleopatra who ruled Egypt. Philip gave me the name Olympias when I gave birth to Alexander, fortunately a strong and healthy son. During the same time, he had also won a battle, and his racehorse had won at the Olympic Games. Philip was often gone fighting wars, so I was left to rule in his absence. The common people saw me as a superb ruler and as Philip's equal. As the Queen of Macedonia, I enjoyed much power, authority, and prestige. My main priority in life was to help my son, Alexander, to become the king. Encouraging him often in his pursuit of power by pointing out his ties to Achilles, I even told him at one point that his father was Zeus rather than King Philip II. Alexander even carried a copy of the Iliad with him everywhere he went. I often fought for Alexander's success, including securing Leonidas as his teacher. When Philip II was assassinated in 336 BC, Alexander became the king and began his campaign to conquer many lands. I continued to rule Macedonia at home while also supporting my son. Sadly, Alexander the Great died in 323 BC, and I then fought for my grandson, Alexander IV, to become the next king. I was determined. Cassander, a regent, ruled in his place since he was too young, but I feared Cassander would not give up his power when Alexander IV became old enough. So I attacked Macedonia with my own army from Epirus and captured hundreds of people loyal to Cassander and had them executed. Unfortunately, Cassander escaped and later attacked Macedonia and myself, who eventually surrendered and was then stoned to death in 316 BC at Cassander's orders by the relatives of those whom I had executed previously. In an age where women were rarely rulers, I had a very successful life and helped my son Alexander the Great become a prosperous ruler. I, Olympias, whose birth name was Polyxena, lived from 375 to 316 BC in ancient Greece. I married Philip II. Fighting wars, Philip was often gone, which left me to rule Macedonia. We had 2 children, Alexander the Great and Cleopatra. After Alexander was born, my main goal in life was to make sure Alexander became king. Proudly, I helped Alexander become a strong and powerful leader throughout his life. While I was most known for being Alexander the Great's mother, who was a very famous king and military leader, I was also a female ruler, which was very uncommon in those days. I ruled Macedonia as queen for most of my life and was sadly stoned to death in 316 BC.
Great. Can you tell us about your board?
She did it at the beginning.
Well, we're gonna do
So
more details.
these are these pictures are of like the palace and stuff, and then this is like geography about ancient Macedonia, and then that is Olympias in the red, and that is her arguing with Cassander, and then these are both pictures of her, and this is with her and Alexander.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Nice. And did you guys hear any words that you specifically noticed or liked? Any LY